Washington. Thank you for the invitation. Thank you for the really wonderful award. I appreciate it very much. I want to thank a few people who are here who served with me, because all this stuff wouldn't have been possible if I didn't have them with me. So Senator Steve Orho did an amazing job. Assemblyman Rooney, who is a great supporter of all the issues that we just talked about, and appreciate having him as a partner in the legislature. And now Assemblyman Wirtz. Now this is what I don't get. I have to tell you the truth. You know, Hal served, as most of you know, for 6 years as my Commissioner of Labor, and did an extraordinary job for the working men and women of this state. Somebody who understood the issues that concern them, and somebody who was, I think, among all the labor commissioners in America, the one who was toughest and was recognized as the toughest on fraud in our system, and as a result saved taxpayer money and made sure that the money that we did appropriate was going to people who really needed it. And he did a great job at that. Why he would ever go to the legislature after that is absolutely beyond me. Why? You know, this is one of those things that really, when in retrospect as governor, you really wonder about. So Hal leaves, and he says, you know, what I really want to do is I'd like to be on the state parole board. So I say, okay, now, you have to understand, these jobs on the state parole board are the subject of ridiculous negotiation with the other party. Because you got to get them on board to sign off on him. And so I have never told Hal the number of positions I had to trade to get Hal the state parole board job. But he's Hal Wirtz. He was my first supporter in Sussex County when I ran for governor. He stood with me the entire time in my cabinet for 6 years. So if I have to give 4 or 5 or more other positions to the Democrats, it matters, because Hal Wirtz wants to serve on the parole board. How long did you serve on the parole board, Hal?
8 months.
8 months? There was almost one job to a Democrat for every month on the parole board, and then he calls me and tells me, I'm running for the legislature. I wanted to say something really bad in return, but I said, good luck, Hal. Best of luck to you. But, you know, despite that, I still love him. Not only because of the great service that he brought to our administration, to our state, but because of what a good person he is. And when you get to meet people in this business, some of them are really great people and some not so much. When you meet the really great people, you keep them close to you. And he and Deb will always be dear friends of mine and Mary Pat. So thanks for being here. Now, initially, my talk tonight was going to be about all the things we did together, but everybody already talked about that. But after being governor for 8 years, you learn to be flexible, so we'll talk about something else. Just to emphasize what we did together. Whether it was on issues that mattered to the Outdoor Alliance, whether it was issues that mattered to folks like Scott Bach and the people who support him and his cause every day, were the ones that overlapped. We set out a plan of how to do these things, and we set it out together, and I'm glad it was mentioned that one of my first meetings as governor was with this coalition, because I knew that in a state like this, getting these things done was not going to be easy. We had to work together, we had to stay strong, we had to come up with a plan, and we had to work that plan and get the things done, and we got a lot done to make this. That was for Hal, by the way. That was the clock responding to Hal running for the legislature.
I forgot the big pay cut.
Yeah, we don't even talk about the pay cut, Hal. And I want you to also understand that part of what motivated me to do all of these things was not only because philosophically I agree with it, but also because they were the right thing to do.
I know. He's all right. He's all right.
They were the right thing to do for the stewardship. Come on. It doesn't work? You can't hear me. I've never heard that in my life. You want to try again? The batteries are dead. No.
What kind of battery?
I'll talk about it without the microphone. Yeah, sure, if you can fix it, bring it back. Remember, as governor, be nimble, adjust. They take your speech in the beginning, don't worry about it. The microphone breaks, keep going. Just keep plowing ahead. It's because it's the right thing. And all too often now, what we see going on in this state, and particularly in our state capital, is leadership that puts their finger up in the air, sees which way the wind's blowing, and decides that that's the way they're going to do things. You know, my popularity was in the 70s, my popularity was in the teens, my popularity was in between. I never cared. I mean, I always would like to be loved, but I didn't care. It wasn't the way I was going to make decisions. I got elected to be who I was and to do the things that I promised to do. And you have to remain consistent to that if you really want to be seen as a leader. I used to say all the time when I was governor, I didn't run to be loved, I ran to be respected. And what we have now going on in Trenton is the exact opposite of someone who's striving to be respected. I heard a reporter, imagine this, a reporter 2 weeks ago say about our current governor that he's more of a Toastmaster than he is a governor. And I thought, that's pretty good, because that's really what he is. He walks into a room, and if he came in here today, he would try to remember all your names. And while he was up here, he'd say, great to see you, Scott. Scott, we got to get together. Scott, I love you. Scott, we're going to work together. We have some differences, but we're going to be Scott. Steve, oh, Steve, great to see you. Hal, just to show all of you that he knows their names. Hi, Barbara. You're getting better.
New batteries.
Okay. Great job. So what does that lead to? What does that lead to? Does it really lead to accomplishments for the people of our state? It doesn't. It doesn't. And, you know, I was saying to the group here at our table, I don't mind the philosophical differences. Everyone's going to have philosophical differences, and knowingly or unknowingly, the people of New Jersey voted for what they're getting. We cannot accuse this guy of not telling us when he ran, if he won, what he was going to do. We all thought, well, he won't really do it. No. Man, he's actually going to try to make us the California of the East. He said it when he was running. Most people who voted for him didn't believe him. Now they're going to have to believe that he's going to try. But here's the good news. He has shown such a lack of competence that he won't be able to do it. You know, I said this to Steve, and I know that some of them, Rooney, will understand this. Can you imagine if I had a Republican legislature for a week? For a week. First off, you guys would never sleep. They told me we had 1 week. We'd have 1 week, this state would look monumentally different than it looks today. Yet here he is, 15 months into complete Democratic control of the state. And yeah, he's gotten some stuff done that we don't like, but the big ticket items he ran on, millionaires tax, state bank, legalization of recreational marijuana, he is 0 for 3. Those were the three biggest things he talked about. Now, yes, he has raised your taxes $2.25 billion already in a year and a quarter. You got to give him that. And he's trying to raise them more this time around, add another billion or so to that. But the incompetence is breathtaking. And don't just take it from me. Take it from liberals who write columns in the newspaper who are appalled by his incompetence. So what does that mean for us? For those of us who not only don't appreciate his lack of competence, but don't agree with him philosophically. You know, I run into a lot of people who are on the right side of the spectrum. Some are Republicans, some are libertarians, who are despondent in New Jersey right now. And I can't understand why. History always repeats itself. And in this state, history's repeated itself over and over and over again. And so I want you to leave tonight with some hope. I said to Scott Bach, our time will come. Scott said, I don't think I'm going to live long enough. It's one of the great things about working with Scott. He set the bar low, and we always try to get right over it, Scott. I want you to think about this. In what may be the bluest of all blue states in this country, other than California, where we haven't elected a Republican to the United States Senate since 1972. By the way, that's the longest streak of any state in America, not to elect a Republican to the U.S. Senate. 47 years. Yet, since 1977, the last 42 years, we have not had a two-term Democratic governor. Not one. And we've had 3 two-term Republican governors. Tom Paine, Christie, Now that's applauding for the past. Now let me tell you why that matters for the future. How did we get elected twice in this state? How did Kane and Whitman and I get elected in this state, not once, but twice, in such a blue state? Well, in 1977, Brendan Byrne gave us the income tax. He gave us the income tax, and after that, people said, yeah, no, we'll pass on the Democrats for a while, we'll take Tom Kane. And Tom Kane came into office, and he brought economic growth, and he brought Republican principles to governing. And in 1985, he got the greatest re-election of any governor in the state's history, with 70% of the vote. When we do what we say we're going to do as Republicans, the people of the state respond overwhelmingly. But you know, when you get done with 8 years of Tom Kane, you kind of take it for granted. And you think, well, he says no too much, and you know, Republicans say no too much. They don't like that. So let's have some people who say yes, so we get Jim Florio. You can laugh harder if you want. It's a long time ago, and some of you are too young to remember, but it was quite a 4 years. $2.8 billion tax increase, tax on toilet paper, some of the most radical environmental policies in the entire country, job destruction up and down the coast. And after 4 years of that, people went, maybe no, let's take Christie Whitman. She won by a small amount, just the way Tom Kane won by a small amount the first time. But in 4 years, she cut taxes and she lowered spending and she returned a lot of power back to the local governments and took it out of Trenton. And after 4 years, she's reelected. But you know, then she leaves to go to serve in George W. Bush's administration. And people again say, they're tired of the Republicans. They say no too much. And so then we get Jim McGreevey. You know, Jim McGreevey, I invited him to come back for a State of the State address of mine. And it was the first time he'd been back in the State House since he resigned. The Democrats never invited him back. I invited him back. He won the governorship. He's a former governor. He's entitled to come back, and I invited him back. And he came into the governor's office for the first time since he had left it in resignation. He looked around. It was just the two of us. He said, Chris, it just seems like so long ago. It feels like I never was governor. And I said, oh no, Jim, I can guarantee you were governor. I'm still cleaning stuff you screwed up on. No, never have any doubt that you were governor, man. I'm telling you. It was only 2.5 years, but man, did you kill it. You were incredible. We're still cleaning up your mess. But after a short period of time in McGreevey, we get John Corzine. McGreevey would have never been reelected. We get John Corzine, who ran, you'll remember, as a businessman who was going to create jobs, lower taxes for the middle class. He destroyed jobs, and he raised taxes on everybody. I didn't win in 2009, with all due respect to me and my skills, to the Outdoor Alliance and their support, and that amazing rally we had in New Egypt at the Raceway and all the rest of that. We didn't win because of that. We won because of him. People just looked at him and went, I just can't. And when we were polling throughout the entire time, he never got above 44 or 45%. Never got above 44 or 45. Every poll. Sometimes we were below him, sometimes we were above him, but every poll he was at 44 or 45%. People had decided. A majority of the state had decided, nope, I just can't do it. So then they said, the other guy who's running, is he reasonable? Like, can we possibly vote for him? And I remember saying to Democrats in 2009, listen, I don't need you to switch parties. If you don't want to, you don't have to. In fact, you don't even need to tell anybody you voted for me. Just go into the voting booth, find my name,